Welcome to this quick video on what to do on the day of a permanent exclusion. Just to let you know that all the information in this video is taken from the guidance released by the Department for Education that you can see on the screen in front of you. This video is designed to be a simple checklist, so in the information that you see on the following slides, it's important to note that anything in red is designated as a must. That means you must do it according to the DfE guidance. If it is in green, it means you should do it unless there are exceptional circumstances as to why you cannot. This is a really good place to start a log, particularly when it comes to contacting parents and carers, where you may find it takes a few attempts to make sure that messages get through. So the first thing that you must do without delay is notify parents, and that should be in the form of a phone call or meeting. There's certain information that you must include within this contact. The first is the reasons that you have for the permanent exclusion of their child, and the second thing is it relates to their legal duty to keep the child away from a public place during school hours. Now, you have to be specific about the dates that are assigned to this. So for example, if it is a permanent exclusion, their child may not be in a formal education setting for 5 days, assuming that the local authority will arrange provision for them from the 6th day. You need to give the parents those 5 dates so that they are aware, because there is a potential that they could receive a fine. Now, because this information is important, you must give it by the latest at the end of the afternoon session on the first day of permanent exclusion. And this information can be sent with the student or can be sent via email or text. You might want to call to make sure that they've received it. So the second thing you must do is, without delay, put this information in a formal letter and send it to parents and carers. It's worth saving yourself some time here and seeing if there is in fact a template letter for permanent exclusions that already exists in your local authority or perhaps within your multi-academy trust. Whether or not you're creating this letter from scratch or using a template, it's worth checking that all the information that must or should be in there is in fact in there. The following information you are only allowed to email to parents if they've given written agreement for this kind of notice to be sent in this way. So most schools end up sending this as a letter. So the information that must be included, the first two things that must have been included in the original contact, which is the reasons for permanent exclusion and the hours in which the student should not be in a public place. In addition to this, the letter must include the parent's right to make representations to the governing board, how to make those representations, and how the pupil may be involved in this. There's information on that in paragraphs 97 to 107 of the original document. The letter must also include the parent's right to attend the meeting of the governing board, to ask for a remote meeting, to be represented at their own expense, and to bring a friend. The final point is, if you are arranging alternative provision yourself for the student and you are not leaving it to the local authority, there is information that must be included in this letter. The details of that are on page 68 and also in my video on the next days following a permanent exclusion. Moving on to items that should be included in the letter. The first is you should include up-to-date sources of free and impartial advice, and I'm going to show you where to find these on the next slide. Secondly, if the child is at an age where they're about to sit national curriculum tests or public examinations, the letter should include whether or not those exams can be sat at the school. And thirdly, the letter should show consideration of accessibility for parents, whether that is known disability or making sure that the language is accessible to them. The free and impartial sources of advice can be lifted straight from the original document, page 29, paragraph 76, if you are not already using a template. If the permanent exclusion is of a child who has a social worker or who is a looked after child, you must without delay notify the social worker and notify the virtual school head for your local authority. For all children who are permanently excluded, you must without delay notify the local authority, and if they live out of your area, also you must notify their home local authority. Information that must be included in this is the reasons for permanent exclusion, the parental duty to keep the child at home, and if you have arranged alternative provision, you must include the start date, start and finish times of that provision, the address, and the person that the pupil should contact on their first day. That is only if you have arranged an alternative provision for the student. So that's it for the initial actions that you really need to take on the first day of a permanent exclusion. So following this, please check out my videos on what to do on the following days after the decision to permanently exclude, and also what to do on the rare occasion that you might want to cancel a permanent exclusion before it has got to the stage of the governing body meeting. So hopefully this video was useful. There are plenty of other tasks that have to be completed as part of the process. So hopefully I will see you in the following video, which is the next days after a permanent exclusion. Take care and see you there.